All right.
Hello, welcome everyone.
All right.
Member Travis, I think we're ready.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me just open the agenda back up and we will go from there. Thank you all for joining us as we return from closed session. The meeting is reconvened to open session at 7:30 p.m. Thank you all for your patience as we finalized our closed session. I do have a report out from our closed session. The first thing I would like to report out is that during closed session, we considered other mandates, including indoor mask requirements, vaccination requirements, and staff and faculty testing. The board of directors has directed staff to follow all mandates from the state and local health officials. Additionally, the board of directors has decided to direct staff to explore incentives to reach 100% vaccination rate among staff. The board of directors has also directed staff to research ways to possibly increase testing for students. Lastly, in order to ensure that we are putting the safety of our students first and the continuation of instruction on campus, we have decided to have virtual university orientation this year. However, we understand the desire of our parents to participate in on-campus activities. Therefore, we will be planning some future activities for parents to participate on campus based on the ability to ensure safety for our OPA community. Chancellors will be communicating more information about these upcoming events soon. Thank you so much for all of you attending tonight, and we will move to the next agenda item. All right, and with that being said, we will do a flag salute. And Member Kagu, do you want to lead the flag salute?
Yes. Wait for the flag to come up, okay? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Kagu. Moving on, we have our next agenda item is community input on agendized items. The public may comment on items listed on the agenda, including the consent calendar, presentation, discussion committee, and action items. Do we have any comment cards?
We do. Travis Marisley, are you present today?
I am present.
I would like to just mention before you start, Travis, that we do need to make sure that all comments are civil in nature. We do have students that participate in the evening, and so just be as respectful as possible to any comments that you have. Thank you.
I don't have many comments. I unfortunately had surgery this morning, so I'm not feeling the hottest, but I just hope that the upcoming presentation includes some data on outdoor masking and some thoughts of why that might not be the best idea and how masking can be hurting students in certain areas such as language development and facial recognition and emotions and stuff like that, especially with our ESL students and language recognition with them. So that's all I have to say. Hopefully that's addressed in the upcoming presentation.
Thank you, Travis. Do we have any other comment cards?
No, that's it.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. It's our executive director report, Dr. Kernan.
All right, great. So I just wanted to, again, reiterate what a great first week now we've had at school. Everything, the kids are so excited. The teachers have been doing just amazing things in their classroom. They're so excited to have the kids back and be able to see them and be able to interact with them in person. And our new and improved virtual learning program has just exploded with students. And we have a lot of new virtual learning teachers who are also really making sure that our kids who are in virtual learning are receiving the same great experiences and academics as our in-person students are on campus. So, so it's just been a really great start to the school year, and we're excited to keep it going and just come up with as many creative ways as we can to really get students back involved on campus, involved in, our OPA community, as well as looking at, like Member Travis said, looking at creative ways that we can try to get our parents back on campus in a safe way that ensures that everybody is able to remain healthy, and that our students, we don't cause anything that would disrupt the learning environment for our students. But we do want to try to start increasing those different types of activities. And just because this meeting is pretty focused on our school safety and COVID-19, I just wanted to kind of make everybody aware of the current mandates that are out there for schools. So the first one is that there is a mandate, and all schools are required to follow this mandate. A letter came out just this week from the director of the California Department of Public Health stating that schools are legally bound to follow these mandates, these health mandates. So the first mandate is that all students and staff members have to wear masks anytime that they're indoors on campus. Now, the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics both recommend that staff and students wear masks at all times when they can on campus, but it is not a mandate for students to wear masks when they're outside. It is just, again, a recommendation. But that mandate is that all staff and students do need to wear masks indoors at all times. Another mandate that was just recently enacted was that all school staff members must show proof of full vaccination or be required to test for COVID every week. That mandate doesn't actually go into effect until October. However, we thought that it was a great way to ensure or to help to ensure that our school sites are safe. And so that mandate or those requirements have actually been put in place already here at OPA. And so as for the first week of school, we did require our staff members, again, to either show that positive proof of full vaccination, or they took a COVID-19 PCR test on campus this week. And so I do want to also let everyone know that we do have voluntary COVID-19 testing on both of our campuses on Mondays and Thursdays each week. More information on how parents can set up testing for their student will be coming out this weekend in the Sunday messages, but we do have that available. And if any parents want to get their students tested, they can reach out to the health office at either one of the school sites, and we can set that testing up for students, either with the parent there, or students can actually be tested just on school site as long as the parent gives that consent. So, so that is available for everybody. And then kind of under that same vein, there is a new policy regarding close contacts. So if we have any close contacts on campus, meaning that staff or students are within 6 feet of a positive case for more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period, they're considered a close contact. So for students, if they are a close contact, they still can, if their parents choose to have them, they still can attend school so long as they wear their mask at all times and get tested twice a week. so that we can monitor and make sure that that they don't become positive. That also requires them to be not showing any symptoms. So if they're showing any symptoms, then they do need to quarantine at home. So that we want to make sure that we're keeping kids on campus as much as possible. So we do have that testing available that allows us to be able to follow that modified quarantine order as well. So really, those are our current mandates that we have in place right now. These mandates come out pretty frequently, or have been coming out pretty frequently. And so we'll keep everyone updated anytime a new mandate comes out for students or staff. And we also post all of the COVID-19 information on our website. So I'd encourage anyone who wants more information to visit our website and just look at under parents on the COVID-19 resources site. There's a lot of information on there. We have our COVID-19 dashboard that basically shows if we have any positive cases on either one of our school sites. And then I just want to let parents know as well that they may receive a letter anytime that we have a positive case on campus, even if it's a low contact, meaning the students were not in any close contact with that positive case, but we want to make sure that our community is aware anytime that we have a positive case. And so we do send out those low contact letters. So if you're receiving a low contact letter, really it's just to make you aware, and also just monitor your student to make sure that they aren't showing any symptoms. If your student starts showing symptoms, or if a student has a positive case, we want to make sure that you notify the attendance office at the school sites as soon as possible, so that we can make sure that we're making you aware of the next steps, and we can also ensure that your student has continuity of their learning, and we put those pieces in place as soon as possible. So, so really just making sure that you're letting the school know right away, so that we can put all of those steps in place as fast as possible. But really, again, it's been a great start to the school year. We're hoping that we can, get through this school year without having very many cases, and really keeping everyone safe, keeping all of our students on campus and learning, and being able to do all of the great things that they're able to do when they're on campus with their friends and their teachers, and having that community. So so if everyone can just help us to make sure that we're following those guidelines, following the safety policies, then we can all work to ensure that we can keep our kids on campus and keep everything moving forward, and just being able to provide the best opportunities for our students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kernan. Next up, we have our director's reports, and I was asked to go backwards today, so I will start with Member Smith.
Thank you. I don't really have anything officially, I guess, to report on since our last meeting. I did just wanted to share, again, gratitude and thanks, because I feel like regardless of beliefs around the pandemic and safety measures, I assume we're all in the similar place of at least two areas. One, it's like an incredibly stressful time. And two, we do want our students to have the best and least disrupted learning experiences as possible. So with those two things, again, I just want to say thank you to staff, to teachers, for all you're doing to be creative, to adapt, to pivot, and ensure a safe learning environment. I don't think people realize the work that goes into managing the requirements that come with all of this. And so I'm just very appreciative, and that you're keeping us legal and tracking the mandates, and that we're having good conversations around data so we can make evidence-based decisions. And then I also just want to thank everyone that's inclusive of staff, parents, and students for continuing, again, to have these conversations, as well as extending grace and patience as we all are learning as we go in a lot of ways, but again, dedicated to doing what we believe is best for students. So that's all for my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Member Kagu.
Echo what Member Smith said. Again, thanks to all the staff. The pickups have become much more, I think, easier. I think we've become very efficient. It feels like it. I think kids are all getting back into the swing of things. I know you have several mandates to keep in your head, plus keep yourself safe as well. So thank you for that. Fundamentally, I think uniformly all the board members and the executive staff, our fundamental belief is that we want to find ways to make sure we don't interfere with in-person education of our kids. And so that'll be sort of a fundamental goal, and we will evaluate any decision based on that. So thank you for that. Regarding orientation or open house, I thank you guys for being flexible and switching to a virtual format. I would strongly encourage the chancellors and the staff to kind of find more creative ways to get the parents to experience the classroom, whether it's taking pictures or doing like a 360 video or whatnot. Just kind of give the parents the experience that we get to see where our kids spend 8 hours a day or whatnot. So I look forward to seeing how creative, which I know you will, but how creative you're going to be this time, but with such short notice. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Member Argwal.
I just wanted to, again, I guess, echo what my board mates have said. We just really appreciate all the time and effort that the staff has spent taking care of our school, taking care of our students. I don't think anyone realizes how much work goes into what they do on a daily basis. We're lucky as being part of the board that we get a window into seeing how much work is put in, but we really truly don't know how much on the daily. But I wanted to thank you. I know this is not an easy time. I think we all feel the pressure of trying to do what's right and hearing everybody's voices and trying to have a balanced perspective. So I just am really grateful for my board mates and the staff. And I just really hope that the parents and those watching know that we don't not discuss the things that are important or hard. We do that, and we don't take any of this lightly. And we are always trying to do the right thing. And we really appreciate your patience and your grace as we go through this as a community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I would just like to echo what all my board mates have shared. I think it's been an incredible job that the school has done in reopening safely and just trying to make sure that we're focused on providing the best education we can for all of our kids, whether they're in person and virtual. So thank you to all the teachers, staff, and administration for really handling that, and just knowing that we're trying to be in the best care of our students who we're here for. Moving on to the next agenda item is, I believe it is items for discussion. And it's the COVID-19 safety guidelines. And so Amy, do you have anything else that you would want to share at this point? Or I'm sorry, Dr. Kinahan, do you have anything else at this point that you'd like to share?
No, I think we've pretty much covered most of the mandates. I know we've had a lot of discussions among staff, making sure that we're really looking at all sides, everything that comes out, all of the different information from the California Department of Public Health, our Orange County Department of Public Health, or Orange County Healthcare Agency, as well as the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics, so that we're really trying to keep up. My husband makes jokes about me being a doctor and that I'm taking it a little too far lately with all of the COVID stuff. But we really do, again, want to make sure that our staff and our students and our families are safe and remain healthy, our number one priority is really ensuring that our students are able to continue with their education in a safe and healthy way. So, we do. I would love to be able to bring everybody back on campus and have, normal university orientation, not have to spend a bunch of time having kids get tested and staff members get tested. But in order to try to keep everyone safe, that's where we are right now. And we will try to do it in a way that's the least intrusive to our students' education, and in a way that really takes into account, everyone's input and considers everybody's viewpoints, but still ensures that we're following those mandates that we are required to follow from the state. And these mandates are not something that we can choose to not follow. We're a public school, and so we do have to follow all of these mandates, but we try to do it in a way that is, that still provides for the best experiences for our students and doesn't put them, in uncomfortable situations as much as possible, but really just making sure that they're still able to do everything that they can do on campus and making it a really good experience for them when they're on campus. And I really want to thank all of our staff and all of our teachers for doing that, for making sure that our kids are having great experiences on campus, making learning fun, giving them just really a great experience at OPA. So with that, I will open it up to our board members for their input and their insights on this.
Well, I would just like to add that I appreciate that OPA has been so on top of continuously assessing the situation as the mandates have been continuously updated. And I appreciate that is going to be continued to be shared with our community. I feel like that's something very important, that we continue to communicate as much as possible with our parents, teachers, and students on what we are doing and how we are meeting the requirements of the state and local officials. Do my board mates have anything else to share?
I do have some.
Oh,
go ahead, Dr.
We'll go with Amy first. Member Smith.
thanks. Oh, so I was just gonna maybe ask a question of something that might be good to share. I mean, I get baseline, we're trying to keep everybody healthy, right? With all the practices and measures that we're doing. But beyond that, operationally, it might be good for folks to understand what is triggered when we have a positive case on campus. And I know that there's variables depending on how many people were exposed or contact with that person. But I'm wondering if you, Dr. Kernan or Dr. Henry might explain a little bit, because just even operationally and what it could do in a classroom with having to get a substitute, I think like we talked about could be disruptive. So maybe you could just share a little bit about that.
And I'll have Dr. Henry take this because she's taken over the COVID reporting from me, and she's been working on it since school started. So,
and I am working on it with my partner, Patricia Lukeroth, our Director of Student Services and Assessment. So it's definitely been a two-person job, and some days it's a full-time job, but just to let you know how it works, that when we are aware of a positive case of either a staff member or a student, that triggers contact tracing that is done by either Ms. Lukeroth or myself. And so our job is we report to Orange County Department of Public Health. And so we are in a conversation with them. We are also doing contact tracing to determine who has been a close contact, which is 6 feet, masked or not, but masked preferably, within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes over a 24-hour period. And then we determine with the close contacts, we make phone calls to each of the close contacts together letters that explain next steps. For our students who are determined a close contact of a positive case, there are two choices that can be followed. The students can, and the families obviously, can choose to keep their child at home in a traditional quarantine for 10 days, or they may choose, and this is new this year, to follow a modified quarantine. A modified quarantine would mean that the student can attend school. They must be fully masked at all times. They must agree to COVID testing 2 times a week, or it comes out to about 3 times during the 10-day window. And then they must continuously monitor for symptoms. So they must continue to be asymptomatic and not having any symptoms. For staff, it is a little different. This modified quarantine was developed to help keep students in school. So it is a student level policy. For staff, if we determine that staff members are close contacts, if the staff member is vaccinated, they may continue to work for the 10 days, monitoring for symptoms. If a staff member is determined to be a close contact with a positive case but is unvaccinated, they must be home for the 10-day period, regardless of a negative test or symptoms. They must remain home for the 10 days, monitoring for symptoms, and may return if they remain asymptomatic after those 10 days are over. So that's kind of how it works. We are spending a lot of time communicating with our families in order to explain the close contact. Now, if you do receive a low contact letter, as Dr. Kernan stated earlier, that means your child or staff member was not determined to have close contact with the positive individual, and it's more of a notice, just letting you know that there was a positive case and you should monitor for symptoms. Anything you'd like to add, Dr. Kernan, or?
No, just that, when we do have a staff member that needs to quarantine at home, like Member Smith said, we do have to then get a substitute to go into the classroom for that staff member. Sometimes, like we did last year, if that staff member is asymptomatic, they can continue to kind of join the class via Zoom or do other work depending on what their job function is. However, we do have to have someone in the classroom with students, and so we do have to then get a substitute to be in the classroom with students. And statewide, or really across the country, because of so many people being quarantined at any given time, substitute teachers are difficult to come by nowadays. We've been pretty lucky. We have some a good pool of really good substitute teachers. But again, sometimes when we do have multiple staff members out on any given day, it can impact the school environment, having to pull people off of their normal jobs, like our intervention teachers, instead of providing those really necessary supports to the intervention students, having to pull them off to cover classes. And so, we really want to try to ensure that as many people as possible can do that modified quarantine rather than having to quarantine at home. So again, we do strongly encourage, and as part of the directive of the board, we are going to look at ways to try to incentivize vaccination for our staff members. We do want to try to get to 100% vaccination rate, because it is so important. It is a big disruption to the learning environment when we have people who are out on quarantine. And it's just a disruption to the students. They want to have their teacher who they know and they love and they want to be with. And so, it is a disruption to the class when a substitute comes in.
And if I may also add, Dr. Kernan, thank you for that. From a parent perspective, if your child is in fact determined to be a close contact, if you choose to keep your child at home, through a traditional quarantine for those 10 days, we are providing independent study packets, short-term independent study for the students. Because we've grown our virtual learning program, it's a separate program. It's not available to students who are out for short term. So if indeed there is a traditional quarantine, the students would have independent study packets to continue the work and stay on pace.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Member Kagu, do you have anything else that you would like to ask?
Yeah, I would. It's not a question. It's more of a comment. I want to share with the rest of the staff and the stakeholders sort of our, at least my personal, and I think generally my board mates agree with this as well. Sort of our, a thought process. I want to kind of walk you guys through a couple of guiding principles that we subscribe to and what we've used to make decisions. I want to walk you guys through one decision we made today and sort of how we arrived upon that, just for you to understand the thinking behind it, right? So, the overarching guiding principle, as everyone has reiterated, is we are going to try our best not to interrupt in-person learning for our champions, right? And to the best of our ability, make sure that we have continuity of teachers and have them come to school on a regular basis. That's sort of the overarching guiding principle. And the second overarching guiding principle is we will follow mandates. I mean, if there is a mandate, we do not have a choice. As a school, we are a public school. And as a public school, we are required to follow local and state mandates, and we are going to follow it. So there is sort of no other, I think Dr. Kanan has been very clear about it, that we have to follow the mandates. So let's take the example of the university orientation and why we as a board decided to switch that to virtual, right? So we started the conversation with, if we have a large number of parents in a cramped space in a classroom at the same time, and if for some reason it becomes somebody is tested positive, then we have to get that whole machinery of contact tracing, not just within campus, but also within the parent community. That's number one. Number two, if any of the teachers then are considered to be a close contact teacher, then they would have to follow either a modified quarantine or a regular quarantine, which means that we could potentially be in a situation where we have several teachers who potentially would be exposed, and therefore we have to go find substitute teachers for them, which then again, for a period of a week, 2 weeks, will interrupt our champions' education. So you weigh that against the desire for having a more normal university orientation, and the thought process was that we will let our staff and our chancellors come up with creative ways to give parents that experience of being in person, getting the opportunity to see what's happening in class rather than just see a presentation, but at the same time avoiding this instance where we could have several teachers who potentially would be considered close contact, right? For not even infected, but maybe close contact, and therefore would have to go through quarantine. So it's a pretty, it is pretty deliberate thought process that we went through, and I think all decisions will be made sort of in that lens of, we follow all the mandates, and we want to make sure that our champions are able to get continued in-person education with their current teachers, so that in addition to all the stress they're facing, we want the school to be a safe place for them, right? So, my board mates, anything that you would agree or add or disagree or add on to, please do.
I would agree with we are definitely following mandates. I think that's the appropriate way to go. And we are, sensitive to the fact that families want to be on campus. And again, we asked the staff to come up with ways to do that. I'll just reiterate what Member Kagu said. But I do also wanted to ask Dr. Henry or Dr. Kernan if you could also discuss a little bit about, if you are a vaccinated individual or a vaccinated child, how that would be different than, being at home. You would be able to come to school or whatever that looks like. If you could just say that again for further clarification, I'd really appreciate it.
So, so if you are a staff member who is vaccinated, and you have a close contact, you are able to come to work. We would usually have you get tested on campus just to make sure, because there have been some breakthrough cases. Wear a mask at all times when you're around students or other staff members, both indoors and outdoors. But you can come to school, you can continue working so long as you are asymptomatic. Again, for students, because we have so few students who are eligible for vaccination, we're a K-8 and you have to be 12 and up right now to be eligible for the vaccination. So really it only applies to our 7th and 8th graders. There isn't a lot of difference between unvaccinated and vaccinated for students. However, with the mandates, they really, like Dr. Henry said, revolve around trying to keep students on campus. And so regardless of vaccination, for those students who, again, are close contacts, there is that option for them to remain on campus following those procedures of getting tested, wearing a mask, and being symptom free, but that does allow them again to be on campus. So really the vaccination, again, vaccinated or unvaccinated, the mandates are the same for students, but they are quite different for staff members, where staff members can remain on campus. But if they are unvaccinated, they have to quarantine regardless of negative test. They have to quarantine for that entire 10-day period, or until they're 24 hours symptom free beyond that 10-day period. So there is quite a bit of difference between the policies for vaccinated and unvaccinated staff members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from our board members? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda item. Our next agenda item is an action item, and it is the approval of the revised OPA fiscal policies. The proposed revised revisions to the OPA fiscal policy address and clarify the organization's sale and disposal of books, equipment and supplies, equipment acquired by federal funds, and a number of signatures, including electronic required on checks. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve action item A. Can I please get a motion?
I make a motion second.
Thank you, Member Smith, for your motion, and Member Kagu for your second. Next, let's do a roll call vote. Member Agarwal, can we get your vote?
Aye.
All right. Member Kagu.
Aye.
Member Smith.
Aye.
And I am aye as well. This motion passes. Next item is community input on non-agendized items. The public may comment on items not listed on the agenda that are within the legal purview of the Board of Directors. Do we have any comment cards for this section?
Yes, we do. Susan Gallo.
All right, thank you.
Present?
Oh, I don't think she's present.
I don't see her name on the list. So unless she is under a different name, I don't think she's present. So we can just call one more time for Miss Gallo. Okay, it does not look like she's present.
All right, well, please come to a future board meeting if you'd like to share your comments with us. With nothing else as a comment, I will go ahead and move this meeting to adjournment. It is recommended that the board adjourn the regular meeting of the Oxford Preparatory Academy Board of Directors on August 26, 2021. Can I please get a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn our board meeting.
All right, thank you, Member Kagu.
I second.
Awesome, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Member Agarwal?
Aye.
All right, Member Kagu?
Aye.
Member Smith?
Aye.
And I am aye as well. Thank you so much. Our meeting is adjourned at 8:09 p.m. tonight. And I'd just like to thank you all for participating in our meeting tonight.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.